This right here is the scale 118 Ferrari 458 Italia by Hot Wheels Mattel. Now this is a budget model at around $45, but it does have some shortcomings that I'll mention in a little bit. Now this car is not to be confused at all with the Hot Wheels Elite or the Hot Wheels Super Elite as they call it. This one is much cheaper, uses cheaper materials, and as a result it actually fits into the budget car segment. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad car. It does look phenomenal, and I have to say, out of all the new cars that are out, that have come out recently, this has to be the best looking one. And the model really does exemplify that. So let's get started on the details here. First, I want to mention that with the Hot Wheels Mattel, as it is cheaper and they're trying to get the cost down, this is plastic, that's plastic, and this is plastic. And yeah, they are a little bit flimsy. They don't stay up very well. I don't like it at all. But at least if there is a silver lining on that, you don't notice it necessarily. It does look like metal, the way they colored it, or the way they painted it. It's not even painted, I don't know what it is. But you can tell how thin it is. You can see through it. Oops. See my hand moving back and forth. Same thing with the doors. Now the doors, they open up pretty wide, and fortunately, because they're not metal, they probably won't get loose, so I guess that's another good thing. Here with this pretty loose headlight, I'd watch out for that. And also with the Hot Wheels Mattel versus the Elite, these are all stickers everywhere around the car, so you have to be very careful when you're cleaning not to peel them off, because they can come off. This, on the other hand, is actually embossed on there, so that's a little bit different. Now this does not come with a license plate. I just happened to put a Virginia license plate on there that I liked, for like Virginia International Raceway. That's another sticker on there. And Pininfarina written right there. It's kind of dark, but should be able to see it. Now, as a word of caution, plastic does scratch easily, more easily than metal. So if you ever clean this car, I would definitely use a microfiber cloth instead of my typical paper towel method, which works on most cars, but I wouldn't recommend it for this, especially considering that this is a red. The red is going to show it a lot more. So everything does open, as I showed earlier. And in the front, we can see pretty nice sized trunk, actually. It's one of the bigger trunks on any supercar, most certainly. But it has, you know, a little bit of detail here, a little bit there. It's not that bad. Technically, this car, the entire design is based on the Elite, so there are Elite parts to it. For instance, the headlight does not have a peg in it, and it looks really good because you can see all the little LEDs on the side that create the DRL, as well as that xenon bulb in there. Now, because this is based on the Elite, there aren't many body openings or big body creases. The biggest one is probably right around here, which that doesn't fully close too well. That's okay. And oh yeah, I'd say this one's actually a little bigger. The wheels look really, really nice. Very well designed. Inside we have the brake caliper that's just painted black, unfortunately, along with the brake disc. It's actually attached to the same thing and it doesn't move. I don't really like to see that. So I know I got some requests here to see the interior. Now all the buttons are in place. It's got really nice seats. And you can even see the stitching on the dash for the leather. But there's absolutely no coloring. Now what you see down here, I know what you're saying, there's no coloring. Well, what are you talking about right there? That was actually me. I took apart this car and I used silver Sharpie and filled it in. As you can see, it looks pretty darn good. I'm kind of proud of that. And continuing right there, I realize it's black, so it's a little bit difficult to see, but you got more stitching here, stitching there. Kind of a nice quality plastic, actually. see if I can get this to focus. There we go. So we have a Ferrari logo on there. I colored in the paddle shifters. It's not, I mean, not that bad, but when it comes stock, when you get this car right out of the box, you're really going to notice that there just isn't much detail in the interior. Like, you know, all the fine stitching is there, it's just no coloring, and I guess it's to cut costs. I don't know how much paint would cost for that, but... And underneath, there's Ferrari's little paragraph telling you that this is their car, as if we didn't know. And reasonably well done underbody. This car is, you can't necessarily see all the stuff underneath for aerodynamic purposes. And we got some splitters back there, or diffusers I should say. Ferrari logo there, not a sticker, actually comes out. And these are those wings that supposedly move up and down with the wind. Engine detail, pretty good. Again, I did touch this up a little bit. I added a little tiny bit of chrome there, some dots around there, and I colored in that, which is supposed to be the Ferrari logo, and it looks a lot better. So if you have a silver Sharpie, I should say, I can get that and show it to you. They work really well just to touch it up and just to make it ever so slightly more realistic. And it does work. I mean, even that little thing, I mean, it improves it. Brake lights actually real. And the tail lights, also pretty well done. No peg. Paint work, or metal work, or plastic work I should say, is actually really good in this car. You'll find the paint to be nearly flawless. I did. And as long as you take care of the plastic and keep it out of the sun, very important to keep this out of the sun, it should look fine. And as a budget model, $45. If you want a 458, you probably have to go up to $120, and that's pretty expensive for most people. So this serves as a decent alternative. Yeah, there's a little bit of cost cutting with the plastic and kind of the cheap interior without any detail. But other than that, it's a relatively well thought out car, and I would still recommend it. Oh, and one last thing before I end. Wheels do turn, although not too much, and there is no suspension. Alright, thanks for watching.